from VentureX Studios in Frisco, Texas. It's JP, Kathy, and the crew.
No, I feel like I should have a headset. I feel like I should hear me,
You do have a headset.
but I don't hear me.
Oh, that's not good.
I'm like not active.
And you're like me, you're a loud talker.
I'm big time. Big voice, but no sound. I think they can only hear you.
No, they can hear you.
Can you hear me in your headset?
Barely.
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
Barely.
maybe.
Barely.
Wait,
Is that a nice way of saying you think we're having a technical issue?
There may be a technical issue.
Okay.
I think I'm rising.
Yeah.
I think I'm like
All
Bo
right,
here and I'm rising.
Can you hear yourself now?
I think so.
I
Good
can hear
morning.
you.
Holy mackerel. Good
Congressman
morning.
Taylor,
There
can
we
you
go.
hear us?
I can hear you now.
Catholic flying fish everywhere. Holy mackerel.
Catholic flying fish.
Yeah, holy mackerel.
What? Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Where's
Oh.
wah, wah.
Oh, so okay. Well, while you're on that, do you know why Hurricane Marco didn't go for Houston?
I don't.
Because Houston stopped saying polo.
Oh, there you
Oh,
go.
you did.
There you go. Yeah,
Oh, Congressman.
yeah. Okay, there you go.
That's a total dad joke. I know. Okay, you are a dad.
My
so
kids are like, Dad, you can't say that.
They're like, please, Dad, don't say that. it is a
that.
dad joke, though. I love it.
That's probably why I love it. I guess.
Hey, it's a once in a lifetime, right? I mean, it's the only chance you're gonna get to throw that one out there. I mean,
Good morning and welcome to JP, Kathy, and the crew. We come to you live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Hey, wait a minute. Why aren't you following? You're not following. You turned away. No. Come back. Start following us. Get over to our YouTube page at JP, Kathy, the crew. Right, Chuck? Is that right? JP, Kathy, the crew? Yes.
As I said, let's talk to our PR guy about that.
We got to get his microphone hot, too. Yeah, it's not hot. There we go. Let's see if he's hot now.
Good morning.
Oh, now you're hot.
Well, Corley's always hot. He's a nice looking guy.
It just takes the
Oh.
microphone. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So get on YouTube, right? And YouTube is JP Kathy the crew, not and the crew.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Okay. So get over there, follow us, subscribe to us, and start watching from YouTube. You can always catch us here on Facebook as well at John Edward Payton, JP Kathy the crew, and Kathy Partridge Ward. This morning, I'm excited. Corley, who do we have on this morning?
JP, we've got someone real special on for us this morning. And the crew, we want to introduce to some and reintroduce to others. We've got Senator Van Taylor.
Oh, Congressman.
Congressman Van Taylor.
He used to be
Used
Yeah.
to be,
and
yes.
effective, but you know,
Uh,
those days are in the rearview
I'm
mirror.
so sorry, Congressman.
No, it's okay. I'm reliving days of glory.
I was about to say.
Days when you actually got to pass a budget.
Actually, when government work.
Yeah, I was back when I was at a functional institution that was like effective and did budgets and stuff like that.
Oh.
Outstanding. And, for those who don't know, this fine gentleman was promoted up into the upper chamber, Senate District 3 for Texas Senate in 2014, and his first session, I believe, was in 2015.
Correct. Senate District 8. So I'm now in Congressional District 3. But anyway,
Very good.
it's still in Collin County. I didn't move or anything. I still represent the same place.
Well, thanks for the correction. Folks need to know. Has a tradition of service of our nation and the Lone Star State. He is an Iraq War veteran, businessman from Plano. Served several terms in the Texas House from House District 66, and isn't afraid to fight the good fight for you and I. So please help me welcome Congressman Van Taylor.
All right.
Wow. The live audience has gone wild.
Yes, our studio audience.
That's just wow.
Tell me you're not impressed.
I'm impressed.
So,
I'm impressed.
Let me start this off because I want to.
Hold on. I got to do the good morning.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Right?
yes,
I mean,
that's
good morning
right.
to you. Good
Yeah.
morning to you and to the crew. All
there
right.
you go.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So thank you.
I almost forgot.
I mean, it's great to be in your new location. It's
We
great
are
to be
so
here.
excited to have you.
Nice digs.
Well,
Nice
thank you.
digs.
Thank you. We love VentureX. We're excited you got
Yeah.
to meet Chance, who's
Yeah.
the manager out here.
A little
who's-
closer to the house.
Yeah,
mean,
I was
I'll
going to
make
say,
that as
the
a
nice
bonus,
thing is
as
you
a
can
bonus.
actually come in here because it is in Congressional District.
Yeah, it is in the 3rd District. We like that. That's a good feature.
We do like that. It's
Yeah.
a great feature. But yeah, VentureX has been so fantastic. First of all, small businessman makes it good. starts opening up other businesses in Collin County to help other businesses prosper by creating one of these concepts, And so does a great job. We want to thank VentureX, and we want to thank Chance and Leon for all that they're doing to help get us launched into a whole different world where everybody's at home. Everybody's on virtual. Everybody's on social media. This is the movement. People aren't in their car listening to the radio.
It's a different situation. Well, and also the business configuration out here, which you got to see when you came in earlier this morning, is such that if you are at a place where your place of business is no longer open and you're working from home, but you are more productive in a work, quote unquote, environment, this is a great place to be. This really is the wave of the future out here.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Good stuff.
Let me ask you, Congressman Taylor.
Sure.
How are things in Congress?
Newsflash, it's still broken.
You heard it here first on JP
without
Kathy
me,
and the crew.
yeah, that Van Taylor guy, he figures it out. He goes in there, he's cracked the case. It's broken, yeah.
It's broken. So with that being said, though, give an example, because we were talking about the budget. And that's what I want you to go to. Give an example of the difference between Texas and the U.S. House from a budget standpoint.
It's hard to even. There's so many ways that you could sort of break it out, but the budget's probably the most obvious one. So Texas has passed every budget on time since 1963. It's always balanced. We've got a $10 billion rainy day fund. It is fiscally, unquestionably, a well-run state. And you can see that manifest itself during the coronavirus, where the federal government gave $8 billion to the state of Texas. The state of Texas handed out literally billions of those dollars to smaller cities, counties that had COVID costs, whereas 35 other states are so fiscally mismanaged, they have not handed a penny out to a single city, a single county,
and
to anybody.
So literally, it didn't get to we the people, who are the people who desperately needed the money.
Which is what the federal government intended. They intended to give that money. And you see that here in Collin County, where literally, $171 million went to the Collin County's, the county government. Right. And the county has handed, almost all of that money has gone. I think only a few $1 billion has been spent by the county. I think for some jail upgrades and some courthouse upgrades and things like that to deal with COVID
Everything
costs.
else has gone to small business, we the people, all that kind of good stuff.
Well, I was I went to the Allen Community Outreach Center, and they had gotten a $10 billion grant that had come from the Collin County government. That it was CARES dollars. So Van Taylor votes for it. Says, okay, we're going to send this to Collin County government. It's getting $171 million. They take that money. They send $10 million of that. Well, it's going directly to Allen Community Outreach, which is going into people's minivans to feed them. I went and saw one of their distribution days, and they're literally putting food in people's cars, and that you're saying, okay, look, but sadly, Collin County is one of the very few counties in America where that's happening, because they are so fiscally mismanaged that they can't hand the money out, literally.
That's just, and again, it blows me away. I can't tell you. I did tell you, actually. I called your office, and then I spoke to you on how many small businesses had applied early on for, I'm going to call it the COVID relief money for businesses. And they sent their applications in, but because they felt like they were a small business, they were not getting the same look as a larger business. Right. And your office was able to help them navigate, even though they'd done everything right, get people to get off the tuft and get things done. And it just blows me away how bureaucracy lays down what is progress.
Well, and let me just say that if your business is having a problem, if you are having a problem with your unemployment benefits, with your economic impact check, if you're having a problem with Social Security, you're having a problem with a federal program like Medicare, if you're having a problem with immigration, call my office. We have been working round the clock. We have created 5 separate emails to help different groups of people, and we've been hustling. So if you guys need help in any of those federal issues, let us know. We're here to help. We've helped hundreds and hundreds of people year to date. We've been super busy because of COVID and all the different programs we've created, and it's created a lot of questions, a lot of things we've helped people sort out. And it's incredibly satisfying to walk into a business that says, you know what, Van, because of you, our business is open today. We were able to keep everybody on payroll. We got that PPP loan. It's made a huge amount of difference. We were able to make our mortgage payments. We were able to make our car payments. We're in a good place because of the work that you've done. But that's just me doing my job to serve the people of this district.
So questions coming from the crew. Major White asks, are they planning on bringing back the payroll protection plan?
So there is some discussion of that. Unfortunately, the CARES 4 package turned into a partisan wish list where people started sticking stuff in there that had nothing really, honestly, nothing to do with COVID. And I mean, we could, and it's a long list of things that are just kind of, partisan wish list. And I think this is the last time we need to be thinking about that. We need to be thinking about trying to help people. I'm talking to moms, single moms who's lost their jobs, who are trying to find toilet paper. They're literally breaking down in tears because they're about to. We helped a woman who was about to be evicted. She was literally she's in the process of being evicted. We helped her find a place to put her head down at night. And that's because we've got, a community that cares, but we also have a county government that set things up to take care of people like that. And so we're, to turn, a CARES 4 package into some partisan wish list of stuff that we've always wanted to do this for the last 10 years. It's got nothing to do with COVID, but this is our chance to kind of wedge it in there. I think is wrong. And it's tone deaf. It just doesn't. You're not hearing the pain that people are suffering if you're thinking about that.
It is tone deaf. You've the other party is always saying, "Oh, well, we're the ones who care, and we're here to help you." And then when you get down to it, the Republicans, yourself, y'all are pushing for money that helps that single mom, that helps that dad who was the only sole income in the house, that has 3 small kids. They're trying to find a job, have their kids do remote from, and the job because of a business downsizing. And so I don't understand, why would you fill a bill up with things that have nothing to do with the crisis at hand, which is a pandemic?
Well, and I think there's a philosophy, by some, and that hey, if there's a crisis, this is my chance to get something else that I've been working on for 10 years and stick it in there, and no one will see it, and but then it ends up jamming it up, and so it doesn't get passed, and so the people that really need the help end up not getting helped, and so that's something that I've seen, again and again and again in Washington. That's very different from Austin. So you want to ask, beginning premise of your question, what are the differences? Well, in Washington, I've had to learn a new term, a messaging bill. This is a bill to send a message. And you're like, what? Why would you? Why would you do that? Like when I was running for Congress, no one ever said, "Hey, don't pass anything real. Just send messaging."
Messaging bills.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've never even heard of that. That's insane.
Is that like the form of a resolution or something?
Yeah, it's a yes. Basically, we're going to send something over to the Senate that we know won't go anywhere. But then we'll complain that they haven't sent it anywhere.
Right.
And it's like, but, in my time in the Texas legislature, the phrase was, I started with a log and they gave me a toothpick. I started, but hey, I got a toothpick out of the thing, and I'm glad I got the toothpick.
Now, we've got some advice coming your way, Congressman Taylor.
We need advice.
So Donald Rutledge, who's a veteran and has watched this show forever.
Know that guy.
Okay, so he says, tell the congressman, MOPPE suit works better than the PSYOP masks.
Okay.
That is true.
So
the mission-oriented protective posture, which is it's a military. I was in the Marines, obviously. So, yeah. So when you're actually, I wore a charcoal line suit for the first 30 days of the invasion.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, just to add to the heat. Just in case you weren't,
in case you weren't thin enough.
Yeah, we told ourselves what blocks the odor, right?
Right. That way they can't smell you upwind, so you're okay.
And Mike Bronski says, thank you so much for your service, Congressman Van Taylor.
Can we go ahead and throw the comments up there, Chuck, and let those roll, and we'll see what the crew's having to say as we go through. Yeah. So the RNC convention, right? Oh, Congressman Taylor. Amazing. You have no idea
impressive.
How cool. Check this out.
This technology.
I know.
Now check this out.
Wow.
You think that's cool. Hey, Chuck, can you throw up my screen on this screen over here? Watch this.
Oh, wow.
Oh, there you are, Congressman Taylor. There's your website so everybody can see it.
Okay.
See, I'm telling you.
Wow. It's in stereo. I'm having a hard time tracking everything.
So the RNC is kicked off.
Yes.
We had a couple days in.
Sure.
What are your thoughts? How does it reflect on the DNC's convention versus, I guess, one versus the other in messaging?
Sure.
And what does the message have to be to keep people on board?
And now when y'all say message, I'm going to think about messaging, Bill. From now on the show, when you say the word message and I laugh, just know it's because of what Congressman Taylor told me they have going on in Congress.
Well, every once in a while, you need to say bill.
Yeah,
I say message, you say bill.
bill.
Yeah. Anyway, so RNC 2020.
And again, I just, that's completely different than Texas, right? In Texas, we never did a messaging bill because
Well,
people would look at that
y'all
and
got
say,
stuff done.
why are you doing that? Like, you need to do something constructive. We collectively are not wasting our time on a messaging bill, but and
let's think about this.
That is literally the coin of the realm in Nancy Pelosi's led House of Representatives.
That's her world.
And you're like, wow,
and she's been allowed to get away with it. And what's interesting is, you in the state of Texas, like when you were in the state house and when you were in the state senate, you only meet 6 months every 2 years. Yeah. Yet there was never any messaging bills put across. It was always action items and things done for we the people.
Well, yeah, and so the other two features that are very different. One is the bipartisanship, right? So 99.9% of the bills that come out of the legislative session in Austin are bipartisan. I passed 89 bills. Everyone was bipartisan. About a third of my legislation was carried by a member of the opposite chamber, a Democrat in the opposite chamber. And I was proud. And, look, I had Democrats come up to me all the time and say, hey, could you carry my bill for me? I could use your help. I would like, and that kind of cooperative relationship was very normal. It was very, very much part of the culture, part of how you did things. And in Austin, they'll pass anywhere between 1,100 and 1,500 bills in a legislative session. Whereas in Congress, they're passing, and that's in 20 weeks. Right. Whereas in Congress, it's a full-time legislature, and they're passing between 30 and 60 bills a year. And so it's just, I'm
dumbfounded. I'm just dumbfounded.
I have yet to vote on a budget.
He gets more done jogging in the morning than Congress does in 5 years.
Because he's jogging with people of the opposite party and other people, and working with other folks.
But there's an expectation of failure, right? It's just we don't expect to pass a budget. We have no expectation of working together to solve problems. There's no desire to fix things. I'm different. I'm trying to take the Texas lessons to Washington and say, look, we can work together. And one thing that I'm particularly proud of is I pointed out to my House colleagues, I'm like, look, there are a bunch of Senate bills that were voted on unanimously. I mean, this is a bill that Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders and John Cornyn and Ted Cruz all voted for, right? So it's unanimous. And, there are probably 80 over in the House chamber. I said, we should start trying to get some of those out of here. And we found out they were all piled up and not being done anything. We started putting pressure. I say we, it's the Problem Solver Caucus, which is a 25 Republican, 25 Democrat bipartisan caucus.
Love it.
I'm very, very active with. And we started passing some senators' bills, and the senators have actually started their own version of the Problem Solver Caucus. And so John Cornyn is actually one of the 4 Republicans. There are 4 Democrats.
Fantastic.
And the idea is, hey, let's work together to get some things done. And since we're passing some of their bills, which has not happened before.
Right. That's unheard of.
Right? They're like, hey, we want to be friends with you.
Yeah. We're supposed to get along.
Y'all want to go do lunch?
Yeah. We're supposed to get along.
But the level of interaction that I found was just kind of shocking. And it really begins with, hey, let's work on something small. Let's do something together. So we can begin to break the logjam around here and start to create a culture of success, which is a long way away. It's a long way from success, but I'm certainly working every day to try to restore the legislative body to be what it should be, which is something that actually passes real bills instead of messaging bills.
Good for you.
So back to my initial question.
Yes.
RNC 2020. We've seen speeches.
Sure.
We're seeing the message. The president's been very clear to this point on what his messaging is going to be through the convention. His family is playing a prominent role in the convention.
Yes.
What does the message have to continue to be to ignite Republicans for the election cycle? And what's some of the contrasting you see between the DNC and the RNC?
Well, I think what you're seeing in this country, is really an incredibly important election, the most important election of our lifetimes, where we are literally being confronted with the idea of, do we want socialism on one hand or do we want freedom on the other?
Right.
And so, we have created the most prosperous, most successful, and it's not a perfect country, but it's the country that is exceptional because 1.1 million people every single year get a green card.
Right.
People vote with their
Right.
feet from around the world. I mean, people are literally coming around the world to this country.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Hey!
Wow,
when they had,
that audience,
Yeah.
those guys go
It's
crazy.
that
They're
high
busy.
tech, yeah. Well, I mean, it moved me to tears when those 5 new citizens were sworn in last
Right,
night. I leapt to my feet and gave them a standing ovation from my living room, and literally just my son was like, "Feed me Kleenex," because I told him, I said, "Come in here and watch this. This is huge. This is America."
Sure.
And I was moved to tears. It's so amazing.
And they are 5 of the 700,000
Yes.
people every single year who
Yeah.
are sworn in as new
Yep.
citizens of this country. And certainly here in Collin County, we are blessed to have that diversity.
Yes,
to
we
have
are.
that continued influx of immigration. But that tells you America's exceptional. I mean,
Yes.
as people come in around the world and they're coming in, they're saying, "Hey, I'd rather be here than my home country."
Well, they're
And
denouncing their citizenship in their home country. I mean, that's a big deal.
so there, I'm leaving wherever it may have been, and I'm coming to the United
Right.
States because that is the land of opportunity. And so
Right.
we know we're exceptional because people from around the world every year, hundreds of thousands of them, come and become American citizens.
So what's the message? What do you think the big message is when we leave?
Freedom, socialism. And so the rise of socialism in the Democrat Party is truly breathtaking. It is taken me aback. I mean, I literally, after hearing a couple speeches from my colleagues on the House floor, I went back and reread the Communist Manifesto, and the same things that my colleagues are saying on the floor of the House today, and it's the U.S. House, is the same thing that Karl Marx and Engels wrote in 1848 in the Communist Manifesto. Things like capitalism won't work; it's
Right.
doomed to fail. This is about the rich exploiting the poor. This is, those are basic themes. And Marx was wrong. I mean, in 1848, when he wrote that, he said capitalism will fail. It's doomed to fail. It cannot succeed, and he's wrong.
Right.
No system has lifted more people out of poverty in the history of the world than the American free enterprise system. The
Right.
American free enterprise system is the most successful wealth creation process in the history of the world, and that's why people come to it.
Right.
And you know that. You know that because people keep coming to it. If
Right.
it wasn't working, people would flee. People don't flee. They don't flee the American free enterprise system. They flee socialism. They flee Cuba. They flee Venezuela. They flee North Korea with their lives. They feel fortunate to have gotten out of that place, and they're like, we need to be free.
Right.
So we were having dinner last night with Mary and Randy Travis, and we were talking about the old days, how you could come to the United States with $5
Sure.
and an idea, and you could build from that and create your own wealth.
Right.
And still to this day, you can do that. It just looks a lot different than what it did. And so ingenuity in America is still here. We just can't let socialism knock us down.
Sure. Well, and the other, it's a question of how big do you want government to be, right? So today, 42% of U.S. GDP goes to government. If you do Medicare for all, just that one idea, that's another 25% of U.S. GDP that now goes to government. So now it's 2/3 of everything you make is going to government, right? And so that's a phenomenally huge decision for the future of our country. Wow. And that's just one of the many social, whether it's the Green New Deal, no borders, defunding the police, and defunding the police, I think, is probably the most scary and the most poignant. And I'll just say that's real. There are city councils around this country that are defunding the police. They're doing it in New York, in Minneapolis. They're doing it in California. They're doing it in Oregon. And they've done it right here in Austin.
I was about to say Austin, Texas, right here in our own back door. Lots of comments coming in from the crew. God bless you for your service, Congressman Taylor, and God bless America. Of course, Donald wants to know, hey, can we start arresting these oath violators in Congress?
Wow. I don't think we should be at that point. I think that we need to continue to try to. I'm focused on trying to work within Congress to try to restore it. But I do want to just go back to defunding the police, because I think that is a very scary concept, and it is an article of faith for many of the left. They really believe. The Austin City Council. It wasn't like, well, some of them thought they should and some of them thought they shouldn't. It was a unanimous vote of the City Council in Austin.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like it wasn't even a heated debate,
No.
which is frightening.
Well, and what's scary about it is, and it's one thing to say, hey, we're cutting the police budget by 1/3. So they went from $450 million this year to the $300 million next year. And it's even scarier when you say, wow, crime in Austin is up over 60%.
Well,
Right, so they've
and
got
you
a crime
continue
problem.
to add people. I don't understand when your base of people who are living in the community of, let's say, of Austin continues to grow, which it does, then to decrease police funding makes absolutely no sense.
It makes no sense. But let me point out, when you go underneath the hood, it's cutting police officers on the street. It's cutting cruisers on the street. It's cutting new police officer classes. But it's also, I mean, they cut $13 million from the forensic crime lab. Right. And so if you want to test a rape kit, if you want to exonerate someone with DNA evidence, it's harder to do.
They're going to be sitting in
jail.
jail.
If you believe in justice, you have to believe in science.
You
have to believe in forensics, right? And saying, I'm going to cut money for science, I'm going to cut money for forensics, I'm going to cut money from our forensics lab. That to me is saying, I don't trust science. I don't trust justice. Yep. I don't want the guilty to be punished and the innocent to be let go. I want less control on my streets.
Well, and equity goes away at that point, and due process. Due process and equity
So do you
go away.
think, okay, this is a really good point. I'm going to steal your argument when I'm out there talking about this, because this is, so basically you're saying, okay, so they're dismissing science. So do you think that the people who are out there reacting and wanting to defund the police, has this just become an emotional issue and that's it?
We're coming to the point where the radical left, which is certainly taking over the Democrat Party, and I'm watching it as they.
Did you see their convention last week?
Well, but the socialists are beating traditional liberals.
Yes.
I mean, it's no longer about liberal versus moderate in the Democrat Party. It's now socialist versus liberal in the Democrat Party, and the liberals are losing to the socialists. And so I know many liberals in Congress that are trying to shift to be more socialist-like so that they can avoid getting primary. They're afraid of that fringe left.
Well, and AOC is out primarying against them. I mean, they've got an entire organization that funds people to run against Democrats that won't carry their message.
So the chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee in the U.S. House, Elliot Engel, 31-year member of Congress, he was defeated by a 44-year-old socialist. Right, who was an avowed socialist.
And again, this is America, and we're talking about socialists, declared socialists, winning elections.
Sure, no, and they are winning in a big way, and they're. I mean, the socialists, and really, it's the liberals that are the line in the Democrat Party trying to stop the socialists. I mean, they're trying to say, hey, that's a world without police, a world without borders, a government that is so big that it takes. That it's now in control of the entire economy. There's no private health care. I mean, no straws, no meat, no cars, no planes,
no water.
This is a dystopian world that I haven't read the novel.
Yeah. And I don't want to know how it ends.
So let's go ahead and shift for a moment because of what we've got going on in Texas and along our coastal border.
Sure.
We have people that are very interested in hearing what you have to say about this. You were on a call the other night with the governor in regards to Laura getting ready to hit. Can you tell everybody what you know, what the governor's plan is, and what to do to go forward?
I was on a conference call last night with the governor, members of Congress, members of the Texas Senate. There was a discussion about he has already gone ahead and declared several dozen counties disaster areas. Senator Nichols, my colleague from the Texas Senate, he said, "Yeah, Governor, you've declared 14 of my 18 counties as disaster areas." And Governor Abbott's response was, "Well, what did I miss?" And then they have begun, evacuations. The state is helping with evacuating nursing facilities, and so. The good news is we have a very competent team that has been through this before. Governor Abbott's been through this before with Harvey Nimkid, the head of the Texas Department of Emergency Management. He's been through this before. They're a well-oiled machine. Senator Cruz was actually on the call. He asked about what can the federal government do, and Governor Abbott said, "Look, you guys have done everything that we could have asked for.
Right.
Call and thank our contact over at FEMA because they were on the phone early and they asked for several things and got them immediately.
Excellent.
So you are watching again a well-oiled machine, a competent government entity go through this. Look, it's a disaster. In disasters there are unexpected things happen, which is why it's a disaster. But I think you've got as good a team as you could possibly hope for running this that knows what they're doing.
Did they talk about who people should contact that live along the coast, maybe during this time and afterwards, on what needs to be done next?
So there are mandatory, and it's a long list, and so I'm not even gonna try to remember it. But there are mandatory evacuations for various counties and areas within counties. So there's some where they're not evacuating the whole county, just parts of the counties. And then there is recommended evacuations in other parts of the state. But I recommend that people listen to their county judge, and I'm sure that information is getting out in those local counties. The two members of Congress that represent that portion, Congressman Brian Babin and Randy Weber, from the 36th and 14th congressional districts, respectively, they were aware of what was going on and seemed to be well plugged in. And I was impressed with the call because it just seemed like everybody knew what they were doing, and it was kind of okay. We've all been through this before, guys, but just to go back over the plan again.
That's
Sure.
good, though, and that's reassuring for those people who are looking at possibly losing their homes and their businesses, because this does look to be devastating what's headed their way.
So, Congressman, let me turn your attention to the screen. Can you make that a full screen, Chuck, please? Of course, you're going to notice something. You're going to recognize something. It's your website.
Yes.
That I'm at. And I'm at the programs website. Can you kind of take us through the programs that you offer here in the district and how to stay in touch with you and all of that?
Yeah, well, so let me just quickly say, during COVID times, we have 5 different emails. So one for veterans, one for families, one for employees, one for seniors, and one for business owners. And if you fall into any or all of those categories, by all means, sign up for those emails. We continuously update. We're very conscientious about content and making sure that we're getting the latest and greatest information for employment benefits, for PPP loans, for veterans for benefits, benefits for seniors, to our constituents. Right now, we are receiving applications. Through September 8th, we'll receive applications for the Congressional Youth Advisory Council.
Excellent, which, by the way, bravo. My son is very fortunate to be a graduate of your first inaugural Congressional Youth Advisory Council class, and he thoroughly enjoyed it. Learned a lot. Interesting things I had told him before. All of a sudden, when you said it, or one of the experts you had speaking said it, he came home. He's like, "Mom, did you know Congressman Taylor told us this?" And I'm like, well, good for him, But I'm just very excited, and I know you've got a number of kids who are. I think September 8th is the deadline.
September 8th is the deadline,
and that's coming up. I know you've got a whole new group of kids who are vying to be in that class.
And let me interrupt for just a moment. We're going to take a station identification break. We are JP Cathy and the Crew on the JP Cathy and the Crew Network. We have several shows rolling out to you. Don't forget to join Dr. Good on Sundays from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on everything public education. On Thursdays from noon to 1, The Lawyer Show. That's right, The Lawyer Show with Jeremy Rosenthal, as he shows you the in-the-locker-room, behind-the-scenes talk that lawyers have. And it's funny, he's going to be very blatant with you, so you want to tune in on Thursdays from noon to 1, and we're getting ready to launch our very first husband-wife financial management team. And
that will be fun.
Yeah, I don't want to miss that at all, on how women and men sometimes don't agree on finances. And then, Kathy, we have a wonderful group.
Creative Arts for Christ.
Creative Arts for Christ coming on.
Young, talented group of kids who will be doing a clean Christian version of a Saturday Night Live type style show. So entertainment, and these kids have already built their own set at a church, built several sets, and so super excited about that.
Yeah, so you got to stay tuned. Also, if you want to join us, go on and message us at jpcathyandthecrew3@gmail.com, or go on any of our social media sites and reach out. We'd love to have you join us. It is currently 8:03 here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
All right. Well, and I got messed up. I'm going to take my weather time and give it back to Congressman Taylor. I know you've got to roll out here pretty quick. And one of your staff members, Anna, who is wonderful, by the way, your entire staff is amazing.
Thank you.
So, final thoughts. How can people do something about fighting for capitalism?
Well, you've got an important election coming up, and if you believe in freedom, I hope you'll help us. It's certainly an issue. And I will say that the left is very focused on these socialist policies. Defunding the police is a real thing. They're really doing it. They're really New York City. I mean, their gun crimes are up 100%.
Well, and people are leaving
Right.
New York in droves. I mean,
Yeah, it's
know,
absolutely frightening. But governance matters. Who you vote for matters.
It does. It does.
We're very blessed to be in Collin County with good schools and safe streets. It's a well-run county. It's got the fiscal wherewithal to handle a crisis like this. And you can see in this, when you compare, you can see how well Collin County is being run. I mean, I literally have had congressmen from around the country call me and say, tell me about what your county's doing, what your state's doing, because I want my county, I want my state to be like yours.
Right.
We are actually, as far as I know, we are the gold standard. We're the best county
We are.
in the country
Amen.
In handling CARES dollars. And I think Texas has done a phenomenal job handling its CARES dollars. But that is because of the people we've elected. It's
Right.
because and for a long time. And so I hope we continue to have that run of success, because it's clearly working.
And November is when you determine if you're going to continue a run of
Yep.
success or go in a completely different way that doesn't even look like America. And you're on the ballot. I know myself, JP, Corley, all three of us are CD3 constituents, and we'll all be voting for you enthusiastically
Thank you.
on November 3rd.
Appreciate that.
You bet. You
Absolutely.
bet.
All right. Well, Congressman Taylor, thank you for taking your
Great
time
to be with you guys.
to come to
Yeah,
studio.
Come back
It's
again.
great to be with you. Love the crowd. Love the crowd. I can get used
say
to
hello
this.
to him on the way
I gotta come back.
Wave
more
at the
often.
audience.
Yeah, wow. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Oh, you're the
Congressman
best.
Taylor.
Keep up the good
hey,
work.
be
Stay
safe. Keep up the good
healthy.
work. All
Stay
right. Congressman Van Taylor. Love
We
Congressman
love
Van
Congressman
Taylor.
Van Taylor. He is JP.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Not fantastic. He's fantastic.
Thanks, Congressman. Yeah, we're very blessed here in Collin County, and he's very humble. He talks about the other leaders in the county and the state.
Right.
He is the one leading the charge, and he is a very humble individual. Very that never wants to take the credit, but I tell you what, he has been fighting the good fight at all levels of government, and I love that, the Problem Solvers Caucus.
Right.
What a great concept. How sad that we have to have that. But I think it's fantastic that he has been able to get in there and work with the other side, which you have to do because the rest of the country doesn't look like Texas does. And he's trying to bring some of these great Texas lessons and bring them into fruition in D.C.
Yeah.
But then every step of the way, JP,
It's a fight.
it is.
It's a fight. Well, it's like he said. The culture is, hey, it's broken. We're not fixing it.
Like, oh, we don't do that. We don't pass a budget.
He hasn't voted on a budget.
Is that insanity?
He's been in Congress now for I think we're starting our second term.
Yeah.
He hasn't voted on a budget.
I mean,
How do you not vote on a budget? But yet the IRS is going to come after me for my tax dollars.
I was going to say, if you don't pay your taxes, there's no.
But we're not going to pass a budget. Corley made something. Get up here,
Corley,
Corley.
come
Let's go.
on, man.
So Corley
Come
said
on.
something the other day, and it's a trigger, right? The federal government, things that make you go,
Yes.
And so he said, why is it if we do something in regards to a violation of the law or we don't take care of business? I remember exactly what he said.
Right.
We can be imprisoned by the federal government. But when
Right.
the federal government lies to us and they don't uphold the Constitution, it's just called politics.
Yeah, and it just, and I'm so glad that we've, that Congressman Taylor was able to actually come in studio, and we're hoping that we'll be able to bring him back either in studio or on our video chat on a regular basis. Anna, as a matter of fact, will be reaching out to you today, and thank you so much for arranging this today. Because I think it's very important to hear from him. He is boots on the ground in the middle of the insanity that is Nancy Pelosi's Washington, D.C., that is Bernie Sanders' Washington, D.C., like you mentioned, JP, that unfortunately is the Green New Deal AOC's Washington, D.C. So when you look at those individuals who are in charge of things, and you can see why they're fighting against President Trump, because he's anti everything. He's as we the people as they get. But I think it's important that Congressman Taylor is able to let us know how insane it is in Washington, D.C. That we live in somewhat of a bubble in Collin County in particular and in Texas. but he's up there in the middle of it. I think it's important that we hear that and that we do whatever we can as the crew to support him in his efforts towards sanity and capitalism and the Constitution for we the people.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Kathy, I think people really should be afraid. People really need to put their boots on and get to the polls in November. To hear that, I'm blown away.
Yeah.
I am completely blown away to hear him say that.
I can tell you were sitting back there just shaking your head. I know you would try to get some video and you'd sit down and you were just shaking your head.
Yeah, truly am blown away. And I'm sure there are many others out there feeling the same way I do. You know, what do you do? And we have to talk to our neighbors.
Yep. Oh, yes,
we got to make phone calls.
Yep.
We've got to get the party started. And this gentleman has always been a true fighter for the people. If you just go back, folks, and just listen to the congressman, he is truly a 100% meetings guy. You know, you can call him on the phone.
Yeah, we didn't even get a chance to talk about that.
We didn't even so many things about this gentleman.
He will meet, in person. He will meet on Zoom. He will take a phone call. He literally, there is not a person who has requested a meeting the entire time he's been in public service, but especially in Congress. I know when we were on the radio station in Dallas, and we would have people from other counties and other congressional districts saying, now, where's the Congressional District 3 lines? How can I have him as my congressman? We're like, move on to Congressional District 3.
Hey, Chuck, if you could, go to our email. I don't know if you're able to, at some point, get the America Will Always Stand video. Of course, we have permission from Randy Travis and Mary Travis to play this. In fact, they sent it to us. And so I don't know if you can gear that up at some point. Let me know if you're able to do that. It's in our email.
Yeah, I can get it.
Okay. And so, but as we get ready to gear up for that, we're going to take a quick station identification break. We are JP, Kathy, and the crew. We appear to you on JP, Kathy, and the Crew's network. That's right. We have our very own network, and you too can be a part of that. Go to JP, Kathy, and the Crew 3, JP, Kathy, and the Crew 3 at gmail.com.
You can tell we're still trying to memorize all of our handles and this, that, and the other, and emails. We're like, right? And we always look over to Chuck and we're like, is that right?
Is that right? Yeah. JP, Kathy, and the Crew 3 at gmail.com. Or go to any of our social media and send us a message, and we would love to sit down with you and talk to you. There is a show in you, and we want to bring it out and give you a platform. So come on and join us.
Or a sponsorship in you.
That's
do you
right.
want that full screen, or where do you want that?
Yeah, full screen, because what we're going to, not right now, I'll go ahead and cue you up on it. I just want to make sure.
All right.
And I want to play it for a few minutes and let people see what we think of America anyways, and how we see America needing to come together. And so I think it's just a good way to tie everything in together.
I didn't get an opportunity, but I wanted to tell Congressman Van, my grandfather came to America when he was 17 back in 1907, fleeing Stalin.
Wow.
Because he did not want that type of, he did not want to raise his family in that type of environment, and he came to America to be free.
Wow.
And it's just amazing.
Yeah.
There are several.
That
people,
says it all.
It does, and that's the same story today. A lot of these folks don't travel outside of the U.S. I've had the privilege. I started traveling like 19, maybe. But bottom line is, there are people right now. America still is to so many people a beacon of light. To so many, and so like your grandfather. I mean, it's
it is. You know, you go back. Well, my great grandmother, she came at the age of 17 by herself. So I can't even imagine a 17-year-old girl, but she came over, landed in Galveston, and started several businesses on her own. Ended up having several businesses that she ran, either in a shop or out of her home, and you think about Charles. So we're really not too far removed from not being in a country like America. And you talk, Corley, about this beacon of light on the hill. I think, was it Ronald Reagan that first mentioned that? Who was it that? I've got to look up who. We've got to give credit where credit is due for that. But all of us in this room, including Jacob, who is 17, who is part of the crew, who's just amazing. All of us still believe that, and I think, and I have to hope and pray that it's a vocal minority that are the ones that hate everything about America. And I'm sitting here thinking, the very fact that you can get on national TV and speak ill of your own country ought to tell you you're in a pretty doggone good country, because you can speak ill of your country. Most other countries, you would be, shot, and that was it. You'd get up there and say how much you can't stand your country.
It's funny.
You'd never be heard from again.
That's
And
a
they
good
had a
point.
whole convention of it last week.
That's right.
Was that my outside voice?
No, that's
Okay.
Well, but with that though, and again, I don't want to get too preachy, as I want to keep things moving.
Oh, I do.
Well, yeah, I know you do.
that,
You have been.
they're not looking at it like that. Just want to say that.
That's my
It's
inside voice.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
That's my inside
interesting.
voice.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and cue that up, Chuck, and let's play this. This is sent over from Randy Travis and Mary Travis, and they asked us to play it. And so this is what we're going to play now. So, Chuck, let us know when you're ready to cue it up.
She stands in the face of evil and will not lose hope or faith. America, the land of freedom, is still the home of the brave. So raise the banner called Old Glory. Let us join our fellow man. History will write the story. America will always stand. Walking through the fires of danger, there are those who gave their lives. They're the world's greatest heroes, and we won't forget their sacrifice. So raise the banner, all Old Glory. Let us join our fellow man. History will write the story. America will always stand. America is not divided. Our enemy, they will.
So again, want to thank Randy Travis and his family for sending that over to us. Of course, next Wednesday, very excited, we will have Randy and Mary in studio, and not next Wednesday, probably next Friday. They will be with us in studio to discuss his new single release, and it's pretty exciting. You know, he's been out of the scene for a couple years,
Right.
and they launched his TikTok. And his first
Oh my
TikTok
gosh,
had 5.5 million people
I love it.
jump on it. I mean, so there you go.
Take that, young kids.
Right. And so, yeah, so we're going to discuss that with them and discuss what life is on the ranch and just have a good time. And so next Friday, you want to tune in and definitely join us and Randy Travis and Mary Travis. And so,
JP, don't you ride horses with him or something like
yeah, well,
that? I mean,
we go out and we play with horses
Hey,
right
I was
now.
gonna
Playing
say,
this
he
whole
helps
thing,
with
huh?
the, like their
What's going on
horseshoes
here?
and the mud and stuff like that.
Oh, there we go.
That's
There we
that's
go.
funny.
No.
And
Sounds
you
like
know what,
Paul
that-
Revere's coming.
No, that's actually a Monty Python.
Oh, it is, very much
reference.
so,
I
yeah.
love that. Very good, Charles.
So hope you enjoyed the video there.
and
of
that
course,
was an amazing song. And you know, it's interesting. I think you know, there's a lot of the new, what they call it, bro country or raw country, however, whatever they call it, which I'm not a big fan of that. I like the, kicking it old school with Willie and Waylon and Johnny Cash and those folks. And when you think of some of the, like, I think of who really influenced me back in the day when it was country music, who are true country musicians. I think of like the George Straits of the world, and I think of Randy Travis. He's right up there in my top 3 that I remember back when I first got into country. That I think of him as a true country star. And so it doesn't actually, those numbers, JP, do not surprise me at all. Now, I can tell you right now, it's not the kids that made up all those likes. It's all their parents like me who are following their kids on TikTok to see what they're doing.
Right.
So,
yeah, his voice sounds amazing.
yeah, I mean, just what a true star, and just what some. That's when country music had real, true meaning.
Well, and on Friday, we'll play some more of that video. We'll finish that video up at that point, and then we'll start playing his single on Monday and Wednesday, pieces of that. And so just, again, he's a true American and believes in America and has faith in America. And I can tell you to this day.
And has been living the American dream.
To this day still does.
Yeah.
You know, and still believes that Bill and Hillary should be in jail.
Yeah.
Just be careful when you bring that up.
Can you say Teflon?
Well, he'll tell you.
He'll feel
tell
real
you what
good
he
here.
thinks.
He'll feel real comfortable here with us and the crew.
He'll tell you how he thinks.
Is
by
he
the
pretty
way.
political?
Gosh, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Extremely conservative, very faith-based. God's a big deal.
Yes.
You know, and God's a big deal with a lot of other people too. And so I don't want to jump into that because that's a whole nother topic that I do want to talk about on Friday. Because I think that we need to talk about the fact that God has been taken out of the DNC and we've injected God into the RNC.
Have you noticed?
I don't want to get into it.
Yeah.
Clear defined line. Friday. Save it for Friday.
No. But I'm just saying that every single speech has ended with "God bless America." I mean, that's telling.
No, it is, and we want you to come back to that seriously on Friday
that's telling. It's
that's going to be one of our
amazing.
topics. One of our
I
topics
love
is going to
it.
be
Love it.
where have we gone? And so also go find your memes. I want us to post memes
Yay.
from Facebook
Oh.
on that very topic.
Are we doing
'Cause
any
there's
memes
some-
today? Because I've got a couple political memes that I sent to Charles that are hilarious.
We can in just a minute if Charles can get them up.
Okay. I emailed them. I followed your directions for once. I sent them via text, and then you said email them to me, and I did. And I emailed them with the title "Funny Political Memes."
Kathy, you're so funny. I finally followed instructions.
Yeah, I know. What a crazy concept with technology. I was like, you know what? Charles is
There we go.
busted.
Political memes.
See,
So we'll get to them in just a second. Don't throw them up just yet. So we'll get to them. Real quick. We are JP, Kathy, and the crew. We come to you live on JP, Kathy, and the Crew Network. We come to you Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 to 9 a.m. All right. So, Catherine Ann, it is your time. It's back to school time.
oh, yes, it is.
It is.
Well, it's kind of been back to
Do
school
you have the
time.
weather? Because if you have it, we'll take it.
I've got the weather. Gosh, it's kind of nothing compared to what's happening to our friends over in the Harris County, Galveston area. So actually Louisiana, all on the coast. So we're just, again, asking the crew to come together in prayer for our friends who are going to be impacted in both Louisiana and Texas, and pray for some lessening of that storm at this point. Today, we've got sunny and 79 degrees currently here in Frisco, headed towards a high of 91 and a low of 75. Looks like throughout part of the afternoon, JP, between like 10 and 2, there's a slight possibility of some thunderstorms. So you may want to throw an umbrella in your car.
All right. So there you go.
And I said that, so now it won't rain.
I don't know why I really like that last piece of advice that you always give. I don't know why that sticks. It's just,
Yeah, she gives it.
It just sticks.
Take an umbrella in your car.
All right. So a lot of North Texas school districts have gone back to school. And what does that look like, right? So Anna and Community and Grandview and Keller and Lake Dallas, Rice and Rockwall are among school districts starting both online and in-person classes. Also, Legacy Preparatory Charter Academy started this week as well. Denton ISD will begin their year with most students at home and in-person learning starting after Labor Day. Kennedale ISD and Tarrant County will have only virtual classes through September 24th. And then, of course, there are all kinds of school start dates and delays online at Fox 4 News, because that's where I grabbed our news from. So a lot of districts going back, and some in person, some virtually. You know, let's do a round table on this just for a real brief 30 seconds. Should kids be back in school? Should kids be virtual? Should we offer both?
what do you think, Kelly?
I wish. Now, I understand there are some families that either their child, and we've got a dear friend of ours who her daughter, member of the crew, her daughter suffers from, and when I say asthma, I mean extreme asthma. We're talking even with a nebulizer and medications and all kinds of things. She still ends up in the emergency room, usually on at least a monthly basis. So if that were my child, I'd have a whole different perspective.
Right.
So I feel like there should be the component that if you have a child who has a significant illness, that should be an option to have remote learning, and I believe that, and I think that should be COVID, no COVID, whatever, because cold and flu season. I mean, let's look at how many people get the flu every year. So that. Put that into one section. I think kids need to be back on campus. I've got my son he said, he's like, do we really get to go back next month? And then he only gets to go back twice a week. And he just doesn't understand. He's like, well, if we're there twice a week, why can't we be there 5 times a week? And and I said, well, I know you missed your friends. He said, I do. He said, but Mom, I liked, and he's over at, I'm going to give a shout out to the Academy in Plano. It's a project-based learning STEAM school. Lynn Ojeda is their principal. This school has teachers just waiting to get a job there. They are very hands-on. And CJ said my son said he misses the immediate interaction of being able to just go over to the teacher's desk and say, hey, what are your thoughts on this? Or having a teacher come over to his project group saying, okay, yeah, this looks pretty good. How can y'all take it to the next level? And that immediate challenge where they're like, oh, okay, well, we're going to show you within 24 hours. So I think you're seeing drug use, alcohol use, unfortunately, teen suicide. I think you're seeing things like cutting, all different kinds of things that kids do when they don't know what to do with the pain on the rise. And at this point, the mental health of our youth needs to be our top priority.
Boy,
it really does.
30 seconds is a long time.
I know. Oh, did you say 30 seconds? Well,
I did.
I followed.
I just wanted a reaction.
Okay, I followed directions once today. Well, but amongst us, I'm the only one who has a school age kid, so I'm literally feeling it at home.
Well,
and I'm hearing those conversations.
I hear you, but I'm trying to move.
I know, yeah.
We
Well,
got so
good
much
luck with
to
that.
cover.
Like I said, I followed directions once today, sending him an email instead of a text. So
Correlate.
that for the day.
Correlate. Not a 30-second Kathy reaction, just 30-second reaction.
That's exactly what she said. I mean, these are formative years, and it's important. And this is how we grow. Some districts are apparently doing it right. But, it is what it is. We're going to have to get through it. And I think if people want something different, they need to speak up. I don't have any kids at home right now. My boys last year at Oklahoma University. And
Well,
you
now,
guys
are they
know how
online?
I feel.
Are they online?
If you guys want to have the parade, just call me.
Oh yeah, there you go. Are
Other
those
than
but is your son, is he remote or is he actually going into a classroom?
Thank you. He's at the 4 classes in the classroom. So, and he was talking
Okay.
to another friend who we just happened to run into, a gentleman I was talking to, and he was telling him, have your son to sign up for as many classes as he can. I mean, all the kids want to interact.
Yes. Yes.
You can feel this. So
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
Dallas ISD had a lot of questions to answer, and so they held a teletown hall to talk about what they've decided. So kids in Dallas ISD will not go back to school now until October the 6th. There will be no in classroom schooling at all in DISD.
Did that change from it? Right.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
do you think is
Got
gonna?
it.
Do you think it's going to happen again to us?
I think I think you will not see a Dallas ISD kid on a building until January.
God, see, that's terrifying.
Well,
if I'm a
it is.
Dallas ISD parent, I should be scared to death of a statement like that.
Lots of questions
Yeah.
were asked at the teletown hall. Of course, the student athletes that protested the decision on Monday, they chanted, "Don't delay, let us play." And they want to get out there and be involved. They want to get out there and do the extracurricular. We are a social being.
And especially when you're young like that.
Right. And, one of the star athletes in DISD, he said, This is what keeps us out of trouble. This is why I want to go to class and get an A, is because I get to play football on the field, do cross country, track, whatever the fall sports are. I get to be a part of that. And that's what keeps me hooked in.
That's good. What's interesting is where do they go from there? So if they're home, if they're not there, where are they going to be? And I
Right.
mean, you either one or the other. And I think whoever, I don't know, man. This is a scary time. I'm still tripping off of Van Taylor. Off the Congressman. To hear him say, "I got
Put that on a bumper sticker for Congressman Taylor.
Kathy, did he not say in JP, the liberals are pushing back against the socialist?
I mean,
I'm freaking out.
It's
Wait a minute.
crazy. And he said, but the socialists are winning.
Yeah.
Well, and that's like he said, well,
What the heck?
So anyways,
I know.
so Dallas ISD, some of the parent concerns
Right.
Sorry,
were,
JP, yeah.
hey, will our kids be safe in the cafeteria? And so Dallas ISD has gone through great lengths to put plexiglass at every table in the cafeteria. Now, what that looks like, does that mean each child
Does
has
it have
their
a
own?
picture of that?
It does not. A cubby hole with plexiglass
Yeah,
on
that's
the
what
side.
I'm wondering.
I mean,
Like, is it like at the
yeah,
nail salon, how you have the
I-
plexiglass between you and the person doing your nails? Is it?
They're just getting ready for
There's
the
plexiglass
cubicles that they will
when
be
you-
working in.
Oh, yeah.
Between you, oh,
rest
okay.
of their life. Gattaca all over again.
What are you
Exactly.
saying, Charles?
All the cubicles that people
Right.
work in, they're just getting them ready for that.
Oh, yeah. So you're in a cubicle the rest of your life. So let's do it while you're a kid too.
Gattaca, I'm telling you, it's Gattaca all over again. If anybody remembers that movie. Oh, gosh.
Scary
Everybody
Ethan
wore
Hawke.
Yeah, they all wore the same outfits to work. And it was like a long
Right.
whole room of just people working.
And you had your DNA check. It's
Yeah,
like,
every day.
based on your DNA,
Well,
determines
heck.
what you're going to do in life, and
Yeah,
that's it.
Gattaca, here we are. Fahrenheit 451, here we are.
Wow.
Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. Your DNA tested every day. Hey, are we? Look, there are some places where you have to be tested for COVID every day. So, I mean, heck,
Well-
are we just a step away? Is this trying to prepare us and get us all ready for whatever?
Well, I know that Chance doesn't want to test my DNA every day, so don't want to stay out of that.
But are you going to ask me about what I thought about the e-learning stuff, or whatever? I was going to show you.
Oh,
something.
yes,
for
yes,
sure.
yes,
Please,
absolutely.
30 seconds, right?
Please.
Right. I'll probably use less.
See, we need a camera on you. We need a camera on you so you can get those moments.
So, my niece is a teacher at Carroll ISD,
Right.
and she posted this.
Oh, I love
Okay.
this. I love this.
And so this was what her idea of what starting school this year was
Yes.
going to be like, right? And then here is reality that she's posted.
I love her.
And
That's so
it was-
great.
It was great, and I loved it. So
Yeah, I saw
had to share
that the other day when you put that was very
I had to
funny.
share that.
Oh.
And you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. All right. How about this? How about it's time to go back and have a drink with your buddy, smoke a cigar, and enjoy a little bar room conversation.
Now, can you smoke a cigar at a bar?
Well, I mean, no. Unless,
No,
it's,
okay.
unless it's a cigar bar, I was being fun. So
I was just busting chops.
I know. TABC has eased the requirements for bars to reopen as restaurants. And so in Dallas, you'll start seeing bars being able to open, but they have to open under the same concept as a restaurant opening. So again,
So the 50%
capacity,
all
right.
that kind of stuff.
They held an emergency meeting, TABC did, to remove the obstacles that kept many bars closed since June under the governor's order to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Some of the bars had organized and a meet the state requirements type of atmosphere, and the only thing they come up with was we can come together as a restaurant. And so the news that they've been waiting for, it does give some people some pause based on what they've seen before, because there's a picture when Dallas reopened and the bars came together, and it was like they were on top of each other. People were leaning on each other, laying on each other.
Which is a normal bar scene, anyways. If we can
Right.
all remember back to our
Isn't
20s.
alcohol a disinfectant, though?
I guess,
Oh,
right?
hey, that's a good point. If you're drinking, it should all be good. Wait, what was it at the very beginning of the coronavirus when everybody was, at first it was bourbon? Everybody was drink bourbon.
Right.
You won't get COVID if you drink bourbon.
Yeah, I'm
And then-
there. I'm there for that.
And then, and then it was something else, and then they're like, oh well, maybe it actually lowers your immune system. We're like, wah, wah.
I know, right? So here's a direct quote from TABC. What we have done through this rule is essentially make it easier for bars to obtain food services, Porter said. Either partner with an outside business to prepare food on the premises, or they can have another source of food as long as it meets the criteria outlined in the rule.
See, I think that's adding a layer of bureaucracy, so to speak, or another layer of something. If you're a bar, you're a bar. You know, back in the day, when I was in my 20s, if I wanted to go to a restaurant and eat, I went to a restaurant and I ate. If I wanted to go to happy hour, I went to a bar.
Well, Michael Klein, president of the Texas Bar and Nightclub Alliance, was frustrated until Tuesday with the unfair playing field.
Yeah,
so he's
yeah,
definitely
good,
feeling what you're
okay,
feeling. And he
yeah.
goes on to say it was becoming pretty unjust that if you had the means or the political power to be able to qualify, but the guy in Longview, Texas, who didn't have as much access, was being denied, Klein said. And so I guess the big thing is not to disagree with you. They're adding a layer, but at some point, bars have got to figure out, how do I get this thing to work? And if they have to add this extra layer of bureaucracy, then they're like, so be it. You know, there's a place down in El Paso that I go to get fish tacos, and
Right.
it's amazing.
Oh,
right?
yes, you always, I get pictures of those
Yes.
fish tacos when you're eating there.
Yes.
I don't
And,
like fish.
oh, well, you don't have to.
Okay.
This is way
What?
good, though.
You're Catholic. What do you do on Fridays during Lent?
Holy mackerel.
Mac and cheese.
Catholic flying
Okay, there
fish
you go.
everywhere.
All right.
So, but it's a bar. The point is it's a bar, and it has a food truck outside.
yeah.
And so that would qualify you. So, you know.
So I
this-
guess if you have a food truck, but then here's the thing: then who does those dishes? Is it on a? Is
Well,
it
they use
the
pla- they
paper
use
plates
paper and
and
plastic.
everything's thrown away? And then, so then all of a sudden you're a bar and you're used to being a bartender and a wait staff, and now you've got food cleanup. You know, for the people who people are drinking in bars who, throw a piece of pizza accidentally on the floor. I don't know. I just
Well, but people are going back to work, and that was what the bar association said:
Yeah.
is that we've got a lot of our employees that are jobless because of you.
Yeah.
And so, hey,
Yeah.
if their thing is that this is what we've got to do to get our business back reopened, then let's do it.
and then
So they're doing
And
it.
so they're saying, okay, so it's going to be the same rules as the restaurant. So does that mean, gosh, there were 20, 30 of us that would all meet up at a bar. Or we all danced together. We all hung out together. If they would have made us go and sit at a bar in separate tables, again, I'm going back. If you're young and you're in that mode, how does that work? So do you have to divide up amongst your group of 30 people who are meeting out there? Can you not dance? Yes, I am a product of the 90s. And my goodness, we were at the Stark Club. We were up and down Deep Ellum at you
what
name a
club?
club. The Stark Club.
What was that about?
We were at Kempy's or the Grand Kempinski at Kempy's. What was the name of that bar?
Kempy's?
Yeah, was that the name of
Yes.
the club?
Yes.
My brother used to DJ out there. Anyways, we were out on the dance floor dancing, and you're mashed in. So can you no longer do that?
No.
Gosh.
Again,
then it's just
restaurant
not the
sign-
same.
Well, I understand, but again, these bar owners are like, hey, we got to get our business open.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I mean, and we'll talk about it on Friday, I'm sure, with the God thing. But the same with churches. I mean, come on.
Yes. So if a bar can open, can't all the
Right.
churches?
Well, churches have opened, at least in Collin County, because
And-
I've driven by them and the parking lots are
Right.
full.
But there's some states though that
That are
have casinos open but close their churches, and we can talk more on Friday about that. but,
actually, and
I
you know
just-
what? We need to get Lathan Watts of First Liberty back out to give us an update on those states that are still being sued, because you're right, like a casino's open, but the church next door boarded up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So TABC is doing that. Bars in Texas will start to reopen, but again, it'll be like a more of a restaurant type atmosphere. And again, I think the more the concept of that is the food part and trying to keep everybody socially distanced. So, just to kind of finish local news, and this is really kind of a state news kind of thing. Of course, everybody bracing for Hurricane Laura. They do anticipate that Hurricane Laura will reach over 100 miles an hour in winds when it does hit the ground. They say that when a hurricane comes in and it's building momentum, that causes a lot more damage than one that has hit its peak over the ocean. And so we are praying here at JP, Kathy, and the crew for all those members of Texans, or not members, but club crew members like Coach Quigley, but also non-crew members, Texas residents who are having to brave that
Yeah,
and get ready
who
for
have had to
that.
leave their home, and
Yeah.
we're just praying. First of all, keep yourself safe. I even know some folks who are in the Galveston area who've decided to hunker down. I know not all parts of the coast are on mandatory evacuation, but please what is it that Governor Abbott, the phrase he coined, something like turn around, don't drown. At some point it gets too late to evacuate. So
Right.
pack up your fur babies, your kids, your family, your elderly,
Well,
help
leave the
neighbors.
kids behind, but you can pack the fur babies.
No,
Okay.
oh my
Well, they're
gosh!
expecting
I think
Laura-
it is National Dog Day, so
They're
a
expecting
shout out to
Laura
all of our dogs.
to hit Upper Texas too.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Way up here.
You're
So-
right.
That's correct.
You're
It's-
right.
it's
It's
real
slated to be
serious.
bad.
Yeah,
You're right.
500,000 people have been ordered to leave their homes and evacuate their businesses throughout several counties. The storm is being categorized as a Category 3 hurricane. They're saying the winds could be up to 130 miles per hour with 12-foot storm surges before it actually even makes landfall. So in North Texas, we are doing things to get ready to help those that are having to evacuate. Dallas County is already prepared to take up to 500 people. Quote, we are looking at accommodations for the first 500 and getting this squared away tonight. Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins said, if we need to take more, we will. Hundreds of buses have been ordered for evacuations. By the way, I want to send a prayer out to Ron Baker. He is down in the midst of
He's
this
in
with
Beaumont.
his bus. That's
he's,
right.
Yeah, he's helping with evacuation. So, Ron Baker, we love you. We're praying for your safety, and God bless you for going down there and helping take care of our fellow Texans.
He's one of the hundreds of buses that have been ordered for the
it's
evacuation
amazing.
in North Texas. They will arrive at the Mesquite Reception Center off Interstate 20 and the Ellis County Knights of Columbus Hall off Interstate 45 in Ennis. Both locations were set to open Tuesday evening. So if you have a loved one that's coming in on a bus that's being evacuated, look to the Mesquite Reception Center off Interstate 20 and look at the Ellis County Knights of Columbus Hall off Interstate 45 in Ennis. And again, Dallas County has set aside some hotels. Tarrant County has done the same. Rather than using shelters, they do have some drop-off spots for evacuees as well.
Okay.
And so Jenkins goes on to say, with it being in hotels as opposed to shelters and eating in the room, we will have wraparound services and testing available if you need a test.
Right.
So that'll
that's
be
what
available.
okay,
as well.
that's what I heard about. That's the story I heard this morning.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to figure out what they were talking about with hotels and COVID testing. That must have been it. That's
Okay.
for evacuees.
And Tarrant County Judge Glenn Whitley says that at least one hotel will also be available in Fort Worth, quote, putting family units in a room and not in a mass area where we would be doing the exact opposite of what we want to be doing, Whitley said. We are responding to Hurricane Laura while also responding to a pandemic, Governor Abbott said at a press conference on Tuesday. And so a lot of preparations going on here in the North Texas area to be able to provide help and assistance. And to those families that are taking in family members, God bless you. And thank you for helping out your family member along the coast. I know that Coach Quigley, part of the crew, he's with family in Spring, and he is safe and sound. And
Yeah,
so
thank goodness.
we want to thank everybody for what they're doing. Also, on the buses, they will have disinfectant, masks, and PPE as well. So all precautions being taken, and we appreciate what the governor's done. Again, we have the best governor in the best place right now because he's been through it
Right.
already.
And
So-
and like Congressman Taylor, so aptly pointed out, the people, the leaders, city, county, state leaders, even our United States, congressmen. It sounds like Senator Cruz and Senator Cornyn were also all over that, and the congressmen in that area. It was basically just a checklist of, okay, you've got this, you're doing this, you're doing this. I think if I were in that neck of the woods, I would feel very reassured knowing that everybody was already on top of it. The fact that Governor Abbott, I think, did we report Monday on the show that he had declared like 23
yes, 23 counties. Yes.
as disaster areas or state of emergency? And so being proactive helps get the finances and the help to the people who will need it here within the next couple of days.
So, talking about politics and the RNC and Victory 2020, I think that this is interesting. There was a CNN analyst who blasted remember Sandman gets up and gives his RNC speech, the kiddo, right?
Are you talking about this week?
Yeah, this week.
Oh, you're talking about the
Last night.
Last night.
Yes, last
yes.
night.
Oh, yeah. Yes. He was
Okay.
$7 million richer because of
Right.
the whole situation with the MAGA hat and everything. Yes.
Check this out.
Yes.
CNN calls him a snot-nosed, entitled kid.
You are absolutely kidding me.
Oh, I'm dead serious. I mean,
that makes me so angry.
yeah. I'm like, Yeah. I don't.
How
I
out
don't-
of touch are they?
Very out of touch. Because here's the thing: ABC News was wrong. The whole thing was a setup. The kid did what he. The kid was more mature.
Than the individual instigator,
Well,
the
and
adult.
more
And the reporter.
Well, the reporter, and more so than half of the liberals that I'm aware of, like AOC and others, kept his cool, acted right, clearly was raised correctly, and was trying to be set up, and he wouldn't buy off. Yeah, CNN has the nerve to say, "You're a snot-nosed, entitled kid."
JP, for folks who don't know, give them a backstory.
So this goes back to where the Native American, who was a veteran, he was wearing a "Make America Great" hat again. When we covered this back when this happened, and he was provoked, and the student did not
Well-
react to the provocation.
Well, there actually
And touched him. I
well,
mean,
there was
even-
actually a paid protest aggravator, somebody who was there who was going around to people who had like "Make America Great Again" hats, trying to provoke. And so this kid, they made, of course, the media, and this is why he's $7 million richer. The media reported it. This, and I'm trying to, what was the publication? Do you remember what the publication was? That reported this kid basically as being racist
ready
and
for
a
this?
hater and all this kind of stuff.
CNN.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. There you go.
And that's why they settled a $250 million lawsuit with the Covington
well,
team.
and that okay. Well, it was CNN. I couldn't remember who it
Not
was.
7 million, Kathy. 250
50 million? Oh, okay. I thought it was. I thought it was
Well, it was
7
even
million.
during
I
the-
thought he got 7 million.
It was during
but I
the
must be
pro-life
wrong.
march in January.
Well, he got some.
Yeah.
And the news story wanted to pull the story away from the pro-life march because
Yep.
there were
Bingo.
probably I was there. It was huge.
It was ginormous. It was one of the
huge.
largest pro-life marches in history.
And then they were trying to create a conflict story.
And this guy was there to do that, and so of course they reported it, making it look like this kid was this entitled, elitist, racist jerk, which he was not. He actually showed, like you said, great restraint, not reacting. And I thought he did a great job last night. So of course they're calling him. What did they call him again? I'm just
Entitled, snot-nosed kid. You're going to love this.
unbelievable.
So
Oh,
CNN, first of all, CNN was questioning whether they were going to even air his speech. So they did, even though they had settled a $250 million lawsuit. And of course, as part of his speech, he says that his life had changed forever in that one moment because the full war machine in the mainstream media revved up into attack mode while botching its coverage of the 2019 viral confrontation with a Native American elder that had portrayed the Kentucky teen as an aggressor. And what's interesting is one of the loudest, most obnoxious responses came from a CNN guy, Joe Lockhart.
shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking.
And so this is what he says on Twitter. He goes, "I'm watching tonight because it's important, but I don't have to watch this snot-nosed entitled kid from Kentucky."
Wow.
Unbelievable. And I've been corrected actually by my husband. He said that it was 720 million.
Yeah, 'cause
so
AB
almost $1 billion.
Yeah, because
so
ABC
you know what?
had its part in there as well.
There you go. So good times. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, see, remember, it was multiple agencies that defamed this young man.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And,
they piled on top of him when this
I
happened.
think he's richer than the reporter now.
I would imagine so. So you
I
know
think
what?
you're right.
Enough said.
See, justice will prevail.
There you
That's
go.
exactly right. Well, it's funny. This is a comment. It says, "It seems like CNN still hasn't learned their lesson about smearing and slandering an innocent teen." Newsbusters news analyst Nicholas Fondacaro reacted to Lockhart's comments like this. And I agree.
They
It's
haven't
like,
learned.
Shut up.
They won't though, JP.
At some point, just shut up.
Remember,
And that's a terrible word, but
remember the when the night that President Trump got elected. Let's go back to 2016, and who was it that did such a great montage? I'm blanking out on his name. Dinesh D'Souza did a great montage of CNN and all these liberal, I say news shows, liberal. Hear themselves talk shows, let's call them that. And it was people literally, there were anchors who are very well known flipping off the camera, saying the F word and having to be bleeped out, throwing their head down like they were a child throwing a little 3-year-old having a temper tantrum as the states continued to come in favor of Trump. And then there were people on CNN and other places like that. I'm not for sure CNN. I'd have to look at the montage again, but one of those stations, and they were saying, "Well, America as we know it has ended. This is the beginning, kids. This is the beginning of the end of the world." And they're still throwing a temper tantrum, even last night when they say this about this young man.
Well, and Gail Meeks goes on and says CNN was at University of Alabama trying to film anyone without a mask, and that wasn't socially distancing. The students started videoing CNN, who also didn't wear masks or had them under their nose or hanging from their ears.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Turn it on them.
I love it. Good for them.
Turn it on them, by golly. Absolutely.
I think journalists should be arrested. U.S. based journalism has gradually shifted from objective news, and it offers more opinion-based content than anything.
And
when Walter Cronkite died, that was
that's kind of when
that's when it all stopped.
Some of the icons like the Walter Cronkites of the world, that's when news reporting ended. And this is something because JP and I, having come from the radio background, you were always told, you had to have a couple of sources. You needed to vet those sources. You couldn't, and we weren't reporting the news. We were just we've never tried. This is definitely our opinions, and if you agree or disagree, that's great. Right. We love you anyways. But what we say on here is this is just our opinions, us kicking the can around with what we think about that or the other. But when you're deemed a journalist or a news reporter, isn't there any integrity in that job any longer?
No. That's an easy answer. No.
That's sad.
Yeah. Greg Russ goes on to say, and again, you can read our commentary from the crew up there on the board. So George Soros wrote CNN a check to settle the suit.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
He's paying for the rest of the socialist movement. So,
isn't he? So, Kathy, how about this? I'm going to throw this at you.
Uh-oh.
And I know that you're going to be able to handle it.
Oh, no.
I want to know.
It's not a math problem. It's not a word problem, is it?
It is. If there were 4 Melania Trumps and 5 speeches from the Rose Room, I'm kidding.
Wait, let me write this down.
Then I would be super happy.
Right? So, your favorite piece from Melania Trump's speech last night?
Oh, gosh. Oh, that's so hard. I loved her talking about her own journey to America and the fact that, just, moments before we had seen these 5 incredible new and welcome to America, welcome to being an American citizen, to these 5 amazing new people who were naturalized yesterday. So her talking about her piece of becoming a citizen and about her family wanting her and her siblings to be able to live the American dream really hit hard. Also, when she spoke at the end, and I could go on and on about her speech, I love her. She was stunning. She's an amazing, incredible woman. When she spoke and she said, "I want to talk to the moms who are raising kids right now." And it gives me chills because it really resonated with me. Social media has been a real demon in child rearing nowadays. For as many great things that are available on social media, if you're a mom raising kids right now, you really worry. You really worry about them. And so when she spoke specifically to the moms raising kids in the social media generation, that hit home.
Well, and of course, here's the irony, right? And I think it's great that it's being billed, at least by one news agency, as a xenophobic backlash by Bette Midler, making the comment that Melania Trump still can't speak English.
Oh, my.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, my gosh.
That's from your socialist liberal friends. See, again, what it goes to prove is that...
Oh, my gosh. So she just dogged every immigrant who still has an accent from their home country.
Yes.
And Bet, what is your accent?
Yeah, moron.
And she's
It's
cruel.
moron.
She's disgusting on Twitter. As a matter of fact, Elizabeth and Brett from Arizona are on our feed this morning. Brett has been thrown in Twitter jail several times because of Bette Midler.
Yeah.
And she says horrible things.
This is what she wrote in another tweet. #BeBestIsBack. a UGE bore, huge bore. You can speak several words in a few languages. Get the illegal alien off the stage.
Oh my God. First of all, it must be a really tough job to be so hateful every single day. Literally, when Melania Trump was up there, our amazing first lady, I looked at my husband and I said, the Democrats and the Libby Libs are hating this because she is a well-spoken, kind, compassionate, intelligent, beautiful woman who loves her husband, loves her child, loves her family, loves her country, loves the military, loves teachers, loves the first responders. They don't know what to do with her.
I'm kind of glad she said it. Let's
Oh,
you know,
God, yes.
because it's like now we can see the contrast, and in races, you know, incumbents need to show the contrast. Yeah, let's use that, and let's just kind of use that energy and say, see who these people are, I mean,
Right.
or you know, see what they're pushing.
Well, and James Woods, the Party of Diversity mocks an American for her accent.
God, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, Greg Rusk, he had a good from the crew. He said, "It's I think it speaks perfectly to the American dream that the most graceful and classy first lady in U.S. history happens to be an immigrant herself." I mean, again, I don't care what party you are. Why aren't you celebrating that? You know, she talked about the contest that she judged, and she actually talked about something that the other side just barely even had a blip on the radar. She spoke about the fact that women have been able to vote for 100 years. This month, we celebrate 100 years of women being able to vote. I mean, she talked about everything that's great about our country.
Well, it's craziness. And it's funny because,
Wow.
of course, from Fox Business Nation, Kennedy, she gets on and she says, and I love this, who knew xenophobia was the wind beneath your wings?
Oh,
Bum, right? And so then, of course, Kathy Griffin had to get in because she's a complete idiot.
Oh, the red-haired chick who
Yeah.
who didn't she get in trouble because she had a severed fake head of
Oh, yeah.
President Trump?
Oh, yeah, because she's a moron.
She's a real class act. What did she have to say,
yeah,
JP?
she goes, seriously, F ... this B ... Yeah,
Okay, so I guess if you're a
Where did she put that?
liberal,
it's on Twitter.
if you're a liberal woman, it's okay to dog other women.
Well, if
Is
you're
that
a
what they're saying?
Socialist pig, I mean. And then makes me want to vomit, CNN political analyst and Playboy White House correspondent Brian Karam said.
Is there a Playboy White
I'm
House
replying to
correspondent?
Griffin.
Wait, this is breaking news, JP. What?
That's what it says.
There's not even a Playboy magazine anymore. It's all online, right?
I don't know.
Oh, JP.
I don't know. Are you sure there's no magazine?
I think the magazine, wasn't that news a while back that the magazine was no longer, it was all online?
I got to look that up. I don't
thought
know.
so. Wait, so, okay, but
Did Chuck?
they still have a correspondent?
Do you know?
Nope. You know, none of the guys here are going to admit it. Okay, somebody from the crew.
Chuck is back going, whoa, certainly
Wait,
not.
Playboy correspondent,
I was
what?
trying to
Need
figure
a
out what the
camera.
heck are you talking
Need a
about?
camera on you. I haven't heard that, but no, they say Playboy White House correspondent. Like I think he's a Playboy,
Okay, and I've got to mention that.
and that was his reply to Griffith.
Okay, well, so Elizabeth said that Brett got kicked off Twitter for calling Kathy Griffin a skank.
She is a
Ha ha ha! I mean, I'm sorry if you're, and you know, and y'all know I get on my soapbox about this. If you're a woman, and especially if you've got young women that you mentor, or if you've got a daughter or daughters, you need to teach the females in your life, you need to model to them lifting other women up, talking about, my goodness, she's so great at this, or she's phenomenal at this, or here, you know, I mean, my friends, all I can think of is good things when I see them and talk to them. But then the other side is doing the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And they have more, unfortunately, right now in the social media world, they've got more influence than I do.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that.
Well, on Friday, come back and see
wrong
us
with
here at JP
that.
Kathy and the crew. Follow us. I saw you turn away. Don't turn away. Come back. Follow us here on all of our social media. Go to YouTube. We need 1,000 people on YouTube.
Yes.
So join us on YouTube at JP Kathy the crew and subscribe. Chuck, did you have something? Get your finger pointed to the air.
Well, there's a link above your head.
Oh, there's a link above.
Oh,
my
point
head.
to it.
to
And
do.
Kathy, you can point over towards John.
I like that pointing stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that.
You can go
So-
to that link and follow us in
Follow
whichever
the link.
platform you like.
That's
Preferably
right.
it'd be great for YouTube.
We need you to
That'd be
subscribe to
great.
YouTube. Like it or lump it. That's what we need you to do. All right. So with that being said, on Friday we didn't get to
It's
discuss
almost
it.
9.
Yeah, we didn't get to
Oh.
discuss it. But the things that you purchased during the pandemic that
Oh,
you probably wouldn't
yes.
purchase.
Or did you purchase something and never receive it? Or you didn't
sure.
receive, like you had to send multiple emails to, some email that went down some rabbit hole. Yeah, there's some COVID, I call it COVID jacked.
So
When you
also
didn't get what you ordered.
your PPE, right, Chuck? We got to have our PPE for Friday.
Yes, your positive person experience.
And so make sure you send us that over to JP Kathy and the Crew 3 at gmail.com. Again, JP Kathy and the Crew 3 at gmail.com. Send us over your PPE experience with somebody. You've had to have had a great experience with somebody. Somebody had to make your day in some way or some fashion. Well, tell us about it and send it over to us.
Love it.
Because we would love to hear about that. And if you've purchased something or never got something, let us know about that too, because we're going to talk about that on Friday and have a good time. So hopefully we'll have Dr. Dave on Friday. He
Oh,
was
yes,
working
yes,
today and
yes.
super busy, and so he couldn't
He's
come
actually
on.
at the ER today. God bless him.
Absolutely.
God bless him.
So for us here at JP Kathy and the Crew on the JP Kathy and the Crew Network, thank you, God bless, and we will see you Friday.
We love you. Have a blessed day.